Well, it has come the time in the build of this model scratch build ship, the Bounty, that I need to think about putting planks down for the decking and so forth. Now the materials applied, it needs finishing off because there's a bit of difference in the width and the finish. So I decided that I'd have a go at building a drum sander. Now the drum sander I could have bought, but it would have taken 2 or 3 months to come from America, and the cost is prohibitive for this build for sure. Not that the item is that expensive, but getting it over here is the problem from America. So without further ado, this is how I built my little drum sander, and it works very well. I hope you can see that I'm very happy with it. Thank you. Okay, here we go with the chip maker. Wonderful bit of gear. I had to try it before I show everybody. See a little bird there? Pretty fast. There's one there. That's what happens when you take it through there. I don't know if you can see the little bird there. I'll have to sand those off. Okay, the width is supposed to be correct, but I think they're a little bit wide. So I had to take it down to a thickness of 1.7. I left it at 1.7, and this material is white maple from America. Yeah, interesting. But I've taken it down, I'll tell you the measurement. It's about 2.5 mil. I don't know if you can see that. Read it on the bottom. Can we get it? Read it on the bottom there. And it's reading 2.5 mil there. It does it easy as anything. Removes that in one pass. There's a bit of work I've got to do on these because I can see they vary in thickness. You can see the thickness here, and when I poke it up here, the thickness is a little bit different. So maybe I should be running through a set measurement on the width first. I think I might do that. Okay, I'll just turn the machine off. And what I've got to try and do is set the distance to about 3.125 and see what happens. Otherwise we won't get uniformity and be very, very hard to keep the gaps on the planking. These are for the planking on the ship I'm building, model ship I'm building, and it's one of those jobs that it's not a model, it's what they call a scratch build. You build everything and you've got to make everything. So that was the task, because I thought the models were a little bit timid for me, because I don't know, I just feel that I'm a little bit past sticking bits of wood together hoping it's going to look all right, and past that I'm at that stage where I need to find out my own way. Anyway, so I'm going to set the thickness on this, and the variation of of this wood is supposed to be ready to go on to. So I'll set the distance, right, which I put in there, and wind this down. Just make sure that. Right. Even that short distance there, I can see a difference. Not only can I see, I can feel it when I put it into the machine. When I set the machine, I had to I set it for the height to be parallel to this plate here through the roller before I put the emery tape on. I put the emery tape on, and somehow it seemed I had to put a packing underneath this side to make up the difference, so it's square again. So yeah, that was a challenge. So I'm going to set this to about there. About there, that thickness where my fingers is on that section there. Okay. Put a pencil mark. I'll show you how I do it. That's about right. Okay, so start that. Runs for quite not bad for a chip maker. Anyway, to explain what I call a chip maker, because virtually the wood that we're doing here, dealing with, is that small. Okay, you can't saw pieces like this. You have to machine them like this way I'm doing it here with a sanding drum. Okay, I'll turn the vacuum cleaner, that's the noisy thing. Yeah, on. straight through, so I'll have to cut that piece off. I just ran one of those pieces I was machined through the thickness, and then ran it through on the side, which is not really the way to go because you don't get a straight edge. I suppose this one's alright, I don't know. But anyway, very flexible now. A bit of water on that, we'll move around, but we don't, because it's for the decking, we don't have to do too much bending or anything like that. Rough at the moment on the edges. You see all the stuff here. It's just a gentle sand and it all comes off. By the way, you're wondering how much of this stuff I have to do. Well, there's a bunch of it. All of that's got to be done, thickness right down to the proper size. This is going to be the planking for the bottom, second deck, and the top deck I'm going to do in Huon pine, and also the planking on the side of the boat will be done in Tasmanian myrtle, because it's the closest colour you ever get to copper. I'm not going to put copper sheath on it, just I'm a wood man, not a bloody metal man when it comes to this type of stuff. Right. Okay, so I'll carry on regardless. Hello everybody, thank you watching this video so far. I'll give you a few minutes here. We're talking about this hobby that I am doing at the moment, building a ship from scratch with no previous knowledge, I must add. The only knowledge I've got is I built a model, a bought model of the jolly boat that Bligh sailed in. But if that, you know, if that's how boats, model boats go, and I wasn't very well hooked on how well made what that was. I had to put a lot of my own thoughts into it and all that. And the only thing I have ever done in my life is I did sail a skiff. So I have a fair idea what should happen on a boat like that. You know, mine was only 16 foot long or something like that, and this one was 24 foot long, I think the jolly boat was, that he sailed with these people that wanted to be with him once he was, the mutiny of the Bounty happened, when Christian Fletcher with his kahunas kicked Bligh and his men off the boat. I find that Bounty and Bligh, he had a fair bit to do with Australia. He eventually did go on to govern New South Wales, or I think for a while there, and then he was involved in another rebellion that happened over there called the Rum Rebellion. So he's an interesting fella. He always seemed to stick his neck into something, and well, it's the way how things were in the day. But he did have a couple of, well, he had a lot of problems in Tahiti when he was doing the breadfruit, because he done the silly thing of letting his crew go on shore, and they familiarised with the local girls, and there was heaps of problems there and all that. And of course that had a lot to do with the mutiny, and so he was a good what do you call him, navigator. When you put onto that boat with a small gun, it was just he was going to sail to his death, or the whole lot of them were going to sail to the death. But Fletcher did give them the chance to go and redeem and see if they could make it to safety, and they did, you know, 4,500 k's later in Timor. And they met hostilities along the top end of Australia. The locals there were not that friendly, and yes, he was very fortunate that he made it back to England, and of course later on the Pandora, there was a ship that went and hunted down these mutineers on Tahiti, and they picked up 4 of the mutineers and they put them on the Pandora, and they were in a jail-like structure, and that's where we get the term Pandora's box. So it's very interesting to read up about these things, and you learn a lot. And of course, Pandora's box, I don't know why there's a shop named Pandora, because these mutineers, when the Pandora struck a reef off Australia, up in the top of Queensland there somewhere, and sunk, those prisoners they did drown, unfortunately, and well, fortunately, because they probably would have went back to England and would have been hung or shot, or I don't know, whatever. So, what is worse, drowning or hanging? Who knows? Anyway, that's Bligh and his bounty, and if you're interested, go and find out what they do on Pitcairn Island now. You know, that is a English colony still, and yes, there's a couple of relations going back to the mutineers still on the island, and must be a very hard life on there too, because it's not like there's plenty of things to go and eat or anything like that, although I think modern day history has sorted out a lot of things for them. Anyway, I better catch up. I can talk all day about it because it's just a fantastic topic. And the Bounty, it's been one of the most made model ships in the whole world because of that the mutiny which made her famous. Okay, catch us later. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you can, and thumbs up to you. Cheers.